Right, continuing on with step 34, in the previous update I've got all these bits ready, I was just about to put it together. So here's my completed armature with that gun assembly. So you put the gun assembly in between those. The gun assembly, there's a little hole there that mounts onto that little peg there on the E4 section in step 33. So you just push all that together. Then you raise the gun shape assembly up so you can put E20 on. Now E20 goes on there, so you pull that up like that, and you push E20 right down until it matches that orientation there. So there is some moving parts as well, so I'm just going to pause this a sec. Right, so one thing you've got to watch out for is this piece here, this T shape. That goes into that channel there, but that moves backwards and forwards slightly. You've got to make sure that goes back into that T shape there like that. Then you've got the E5 and E3 assembly with the E17 in the bottom. That moves backwards and forwards like that. And then you've got the, what was that one? That was A1 and A21. That also moves as well. So that's the moving parts explained, and that's step 34 complete. Right, to finish off page 13, it's now step 35. So you've got your completed step 34 assembly, it's got to be mounted into that and then mounted into that. So the first part, it's G2 with C22 and a polycap sleeve, which is B. So there's G2, which is the main rectangular piece, and you've got C22, which locks in to the back of there, and then there's your polycap sleeve, which locks into there. And your second part, which is like this assembly with like a joint on it. So you've got A2 and A3, which is that. So you push those together. And then you've got a little sleeve, which is A15. That's that, right on the front there. And then to form that section with the peg on, it is A7 and A9. So you just push those together very, very easily. And then you got that little peg there, which is like a swivel, and that goes into that hole there. So just got to put this together now. Right, one small thing before I mount all that into the completed B34 assembly. So what you got to do is you've got to line these T shape into that hole there. So that's that, and then you've got the 4 pins which line up to that, and then that little peg there goes in the poly cap sleeve there. I've now completed the step 35 assembly, so I'll just push that into the top of there, the bottom of there, sorry, and then this armature with that little peg is just pushed into there, and then I'll just push that back down. And that is that, step 35, the last part of page 13, complete. Right, starting page 14, step 36, you've got to make this ball joint collar first. So for the one side it's H1 D13, and then for the ball joint section it's E13 and E15. So that is that one. So there's E13 and E15 there. One of them had a long peg, the other one had a mounting hole. So you just push those together. Then you push that square block H1 on, which is a mounting block, and then you've got this L-shape bracket there with some holes in there, and that's D13, and you just push that onto H1. Going on to the second step, step 36, the same again with that ball joint. The D13 and the H1 are the same, but E14 and E16 is the other side to E13 and E15. And that is that one. Yeah, no, not that one, that one. So I've marked up the bits, 14 and 16. Push them together with the pinholes and the pins, the square part of H1, and then the L-shaped bracket, which is D13. So that's that done. Right, on this side, it's telling me to put the completed ball joint section with the A23 and E7 into step 35, which, as you know, is that. So there's A23 and E7 ready to go on. And there's A20 and E1, which is the other side. Those are ready to go on. So that's the detail you get on that part there, which is A20. And you've got A23, E7, and E1. So step 36 is ready to be all put together with all those loose parts. Right, I've now finished the step 36 construction. So what I did is on this side, you put E7 in first. There's 2 grooves and there's 2 channels inside E7, the notches. So you push that into place first. Then you've got the A23. Now there's loads of pins on this, on the inside. You line them up with the pinholes dotted around on the main piece, and you slot that into place. Then the completed joint, then you put that once you've done A23. So that's what that looks like, because the mounting tab on the back of there, which is like a semicircle with a square on the back, that just slots into that hole there. So that's that side. Rinse and repeat for this side. So you put E1 in first with those tabs and the grooves inside E1. So you push that onto them 2 tabs. Then with the pins again and the pinholes on the main piece, you put A20 in. Then you put the completed joint into there, into that little hole through A20. So there's where it goes through A20 into there. And that's all finished. So all I've got to do now is put A10 on and E12. So I'm just going to pause this a sec. Actually, better not at the moment, because I've got to tell you how this is going to go in. So you've got a T shape, and you've got the peg here, which this movable piece here on that gun shape assembly. The orientation, it tells you, I've read the English version of the instructions on my phone, and that peg has got to be dead centre just before that hole. So there's the hole, there's the peg. So you've got the T shape of the E12, so that goes into there. And then the actual, what was it, A10, you've got a rectangular notch there and a rectangular notch there, which will go into those 2 holes on the back of A10. So I'm going to mount these now. So I've now put those 2 pieces into place. So I've got E12. Now E12 has actually got a couple of pins. It's like a C-shaped pin. There's a pin there and there's a pin there, and there's a little hole on the back of that movable part. So you put the little 2 C-shaped pins in first, then the T-shape, and that pushes into place, and that locks that tab so it won't come out. So that will go straight in the hole and it will stay there. As far as the what was it, A10 piece goes, there's a little, that tab was smaller, and then there was a big tab on here, and you just push that into place, and that is that done. So that's now step 37 done. Right, now on step 38, it's telling me I've got to mock all these parts up to put them all together, but I'm not going to. I'm going to mock that part up later on. So that's the shoulders and the neck basically done. Right, I'm now starting page 15, which I'm now going to be starting the railgun assembly. So I'm doing step 39 and step 40 at the moment. So step 39, you've got D21 for the railgun arm, and then you've got two inserts which are K1 and K7, and you've got to do that twice. So the big long piece is D21. You've got some detailing on the outside down on the sides. So basically what you do is you get your K1, which is like a tyre tread pattern. So there's 4 pins and holes. So you got 1, 2, 3 and 4. So you mount those pins and holes, and that slots into that channel, that piece there, that rectangular slot. And then you've got the K7 part, which is the one with the lines on, and there's 3 holes for that. You got 1, 2 and 3, and that clips into the back of that K1 part again with that rectangular insert there. And then the K7 sticks out slightly at the back of the D21. So that's that step 39 done. Going on to step 40, you've got I16 and I10, which I16 plugs into the back of I10, and you've got a polyprop sleeve which is number G, letter G, sorry. So there's 10 and there's 16 with the polyprop sleeve plugged into that little circular hole and groove there. And the mounting hole shows through on the outside of I10. So that's I10 and 16. And then to finish off the assembly, when I put it all together, you've got C8, I23 and C15. Them are pretty much all caps. So that one's C15, that one's C8, and that one's I23. So I've just got to put all this together now to complete those 2 steps of the first part of the railgun. Right, so the first part of the railgun is finished, as in step 40. So basically what you do, you've got the orientation steps. So you've got the I16 into the I10, which is basically that. And you push that together. So what the orientation steps, you put the one railgun part on, as in step 39, because you've got 2 of those. So you push that in. Then once that's in, you put C8 in. Then once that's in, then you put I23 in there. So that, which one? So that's, trying to get that to stand up. That's your C8, and then right there in the middle there, that's I23. And you got the second rail, the second part of the rail. Like I said, with the orientation, you get the other rail, put that in first onto the underneath, and then you put the C15 cap in to hold it in, and that's the second part of the orientation. So that's the other part of the railgun mount, as it were. And then you push that in, and there's the C15 cap. So that's step 39, step 40 done.